call the Highway and Building Committee meeting for Thursday, July 11th. I would like to call the Highways and Building Committee meeting for Thursday, July 11th to order. It's 9 o'clock. Roll call, please.
Mr. Washington?
Present.
Mr. Kinzinger?
Present.
Mr. Olthoff?
Present.
Mr. Hess?
Present.
Mr. Tholen? Ms. Polk?
Present.
Mr. Snipes?
Present.
Ms. Peters?
Present.
Mr. Ritter? Mr. Zenz?
Present.
Ms. Haas?
Present.
Mr. Carrico?
Present.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Present.
Mr. Featherling?
Present.
Mr. Smith? Mr. Dennell?
Right here.
Mr. Wheeler?
Roll call. Oh, present, sorry. So.
We have a quorum.
Let's call this meeting to order again. Are there any public comments? I don't see any. You received the minutes via email. Is there an approval of those minutes? Roger? Second. Mr. Zenz. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Mr. Lucas, Highways report.
Good morning. My name is Lucas Stroud. I'm the assistant county engineer, and Mark's off for the week, so I'm filling in for him. So we don't have any bids or lettings this morning, so go ahead and get started with the pay estimates. The first one we have is the county 2019 general maintenance supplement 2 payable to Carasso Construction for oil and chip work done in the county for $62,265.95. The next one is county 2019 general maintenance payable to Kankakee Valley Construction Company for cold mix picked up at the plant for a total of $1,626.30. Next is the county 2019 general maintenance payable to Prairie Materials for stone picked up at the plant for $123.19. The next one is the county 2019 general maintenance payable to Vulcan Materials for stone picked up at the plant for $306.54. Next one is Mantino Road District 2019 general maintenance payable to Grasso Construction for oil and chip work done for $116,060.73. Next is Kankakee Road District, Section 17-05122-00-SS, payable to MG2A for design engineering done at Heil Estates. That total is $6,962.50. The next one is Pilot Road District, Section 19-12102-01-AS, payable to Toby's Construction, and that was for ag base repair for a total of $80,052.44. The next one is also Pilot Road District, Section 19-12000-00-GM Supplement 1. That's payable to Toby's Construction for ag base repair for a total of $64,734.26. The next one is Otto Road District, 2019 General Maintenance Supplement 2, payable to Vulcan Materials for stone that was picked up at the quarry for $863.60. Next one is County Section 18-00305-00-BR non-MFT. That's payable to Engineering Resource Associates for hydraulic report that was done on one of our County Highway 6 bridges in Salina Township. That total is $7,500.00. The next one is the County 2019 General Bridge. That is payable to Engineering Resource Associates for a routine bridge inspection, and that total is $1,665.00. And the last one we have is Bourbonnais Road District, section 06-02105-01-BR. That's payable to Toby's Construction for a bridge that is being replaced for $179,523.82.
Do I have a motion to approve those estimates? Mr. Eckhoff, second. Mr. Featherling. Are there any questions regarding these pay requests? Voice vote.
Mr. Washington,
Aye.
Mr. Kinzinger,
Aye.
Mr. Duraltoff,
Aye.
Mr. Hess,
Aye.
Ms. Polk, Mr. Snipes,
Aye.
Ms. Peters, Mr. Zenz,
Aye.
Ms. Haas, Mr. Carrico,
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff,
Aye.
Mr. Featherling,
Aye.
Mr. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler,
Aye.
motion carries.
Mr. Snipes.
Before the engineer leaves, I just have a question. With the increase in look like the motor fuel tax to 19 cents, which is geared towards making Illinois beautiful again, have we kind of taken a proactive approach to see, or proactive approach to see how that's going to benefit Kankakee County?
Yeah, I'll have to talk to Mark a little bit more about it, but I know that there is another county that has started doing some projections on the new money that we're gonna get, and so we've started to go through our whole map and go through all of our roads and see, you know, we're trying to set up a new plan so that we can hit every road more often, because we will be getting this new money. So we have started some planning. It's still kind of in the works right now, but it has started and we've been thinking about it. So
Oh, okay, sounds good, thanks.
Question.
Oh, I thought, wasn't sure he was done. Were you done, Mr. Snipes?
Yes, go ahead.
Question.
With this projected, or the increase that's coming out, do we know two things?
Hey, speak into your mic.
Do we know if we're actually going to get that money? Or
I don't know all the details with that. I just know that that they're telling us that we're projected to get more. We're expecting from our office with our engineers and stuff, we're expecting to get more work that we're going to be able to get done. So that's what we're planning for. I mean, we haven't heard a number or anything like that, but
under the Blagojevich administration, they took 20%, I believe it was, from the townships. Is there any chance of that ever being restored?
I have
Of
not
the
heard
MMT
anything.
money? Just something
That's-
to take back to Mark.
Yeah, I'll bring that to Mark. And
Hey, George, did you have something to say?
Not now, it's been answered.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got a text from Mark. He's in Seattle. He's watching this, and he's wondering if you had a job interview today. You have a suit on and a tie. And, just curious. Thank you.
Out of order. Are there any other questions? Thank you. Mr. Andrews.
I did. I had 2 shows. Proud of you.
All right, good morning. Facility dude report for the month of June, we had 141 work orders, so a pretty typical month from that aspect. We'll move on to the financial report. You've got 2 financial reports in front of you. You've got maintenance expenditures breakdown per building for the month of June. Those are monthly totals. And then you also have year-to-date figures as well on the separate sheet. We'll cover the monthly expenditures first. let's see. So under service contracts, we had a total of 9,527.37 for the month. For that number, let's see, 1884.30 was Kankakee disposal, which that's a pretty normal month. And then the other number is for Johnson Controls, 5,900. So that's almost $8,000 of the 95 under service contracts for the month of June. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that Johnson Controls number. That is for building automation at JCDC. So all of our HVAC controls goes through Johnson Controls, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when I get to the year-to-date numbers, because there's a few differences in how the previous director had done things and how I'm doing them. So we'll talk about that. So that's under service contracts. Under the miscellaneous number, you'll see there we had 9,525.42 in expenditures there. 3735 of that was our overhead door repair out at Jerome Combs, the North Sallyport door. If you guys remember, a couple months ago we had the barrel that actually broke. It was actually quite a lengthy repair. That's 3,545.95. And then we talked a little bit at the last meeting about a booster heater repair for the kitchen. The booster heater heats the when they clean the dishes, the booster heater heats the water to the point where it sanitizes. And that repair was 3,545. So that's roughly, again, over $7,000 of the 9,525 that was spent under miscellaneous repairs in the month of June. Under building equipment, you'll see there we spent 4,456.07. Roughly 1,000 of that was new flags. I keep a supply of flags here in the basement, so I ordered roughly $1,000 worth of flags. That's county flags, which are custom flags that we get made. Of course, the state flags and the United States flags and United States flags. So for all the buildings, we house all those here. I spent $1,000, and that should get us through probably the next, I would say probably all the way through next year. We shouldn't have any more expense with regard to flags. And then Rogers Supply, we spent $1,000 there, and that was for bulbs for this building, the courthouse, the old jail, the annex, JCDC. We house all of our bulbs here for all the buildings. So that outlines many of those expenses. Is there any questions on the monthly expenditures? And then if they're not, we can go to the year-to-date stuff.
Mr. Snipes?
Yeah, this is one. I'm noticing, I mean, it's not a huge increase from previous year total, so this one about 7-8%, but in the miscellaneous line item, there's like a close to 60% better increase, and I'm wondering, because it's up on the miscellaneous, what is that?
Miscellaneous is going to be your service repairs by outside contractors is going to be the largest portion of that. And if you look over into the year-to-date number under that number is going to be 56,400. You'll see it says miscellaneous services and the year-to-date numbers. It's this one here.
Oh, okay.
So under the miscellaneous, let's see, you'll see 56,400 miscellaneous services. That is, most of that is going to be service repairs by outside contractors. And, you know, that's why, you know, when we have these meetings, I try to keep everybody up to date as best I can. We have stuff go down. I always have our staff look at it first. They troubleshoot. If they can't make the repair, I have to make a call. So, you know, I'm kind of at the mercy of, you know, the buildings, so to speak. So.
Mr. Andrews, would you explain how to use this? I just noticed that you gave it to us. It's kind of nice.
Yeah. So the year-to-date stuff, we'll move on to that. You'll see the year-to-date fiscal 18, fiscal 19, and then you'll see the budget numbers. So what I'll do is I'll call out, you know, just there's a few things here that, you know, I guess just me and, you know, having been new to this position, there's really two line items that go to maintenance materials. You've got line item 52,100, and then you have miscellaneous supplies, which is line item 56,850. So you'll see under 52,100, I'm roughly $10,000 over budget year to date when compared to the same time last year. But you'll see under miscellaneous supplies, 56,850, I'm significantly under budget. So I think what Brian had done is we've just been kind of coding things differently. He'd been coding some things to 56,850, and I must have coded some of those things to 52,100. So what I'm doing now is I'm going through and I'm trying to see exactly, I'm going back through a lot of the older invoices to see what was coded to 56,850 to make sure that we're capturing the right numbers and I'm getting things coded to the right line item. So you'll see, year to date number, we're roughly $12,000 over budget. And I looked back through under maintenance contracts, you'll see fiscal year 19, we're significantly over where we were this time last year. So what I did is I went back and I looked at, and I came across the Johnson Controls invoice that we just talked about. That was coded last year to the capital fund. I have no idea why. I coded it to maintenance contracts because that's in effect what it is. But that's roughly $11,000 that was not spent out of my budget last year. So maybe that's something that I can talk to the chairman about, find out maybe why it was done that way, if I should be doing it that way. But to me, that was something that I just assume should go towards my budget because it's for building automation controls at the jail. So if you see that maintenance contracts number of 71,340.76 and you back out that $11,000 number, we are pretty much on pace to where we should be. I looked back through what I have yet to spend on our contracts, and we're pretty much spot on. So I would expect us to be 97,850 is my total original budget number. If you add in that 11,000, that should be pretty close to where we'll be come the end of the year. So does that make sense? I know I kind of rambled there, but
Quick question. So what I'm looking at, is this a quarterly basis? We'll get this once a quarter this year to date?
no, I can bring it every month. It's through 6/30/2019. So I'll start bringing this every month to the meeting, and we'll go over the monthly expenditures. We'll look at the year to date stuff, and then there shouldn't be any surprises. Under building improvements, you'll see we're significantly over there as well. And a large portion of that is the swipe system that we put in here at 189, $5,000 worth. So,
Excellent. I appreciate this year-to-date comparisons. Anybody have any other comments?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The one of those things that just for the committee to consider when they look at these reports, much like the coroner, you don't know what the number is going to be until the number shows up at your doorstep. So we can take a look at year over year, and since we haven't been doing PM on a lot of equipment while we were going through this financial crisis, it would manifest in higher maintenance costs. Obviously, we weren't able to go out and change things on a preventative basis. So I know Wes is going to be doing that as we start to get back on our feet a little bit. And over the years, we can start to extrapolate some things, but comparing month to month and year over year might not be the best way to view the expenses. It'd be a good snapshot of knowing what's going on a daily basis, but when we start to do yearly budgets, I mean, just like with the coroner, exactly, you don't know who's going to pass away and for what reasons and how many autopsies. Same thing, we're losing blowers on the roofs, sometimes daily, and then sometimes they'll go for 6 months without losing anything.
Yeah.
So you just don't know.
But the advantage of comparing year to date is that you start to see trends, or you may see something that jumps out and you can look at it and then have your explanation. Well, that's the reason.
Right.
So it just kind of keeps us on top of what's happening.
Yep, you'll get it.
Anybody else have a question?
And bottom line, I don't do any repairs or any building improvements without coming to the committee first. So, I mean, if something breaks and it needs to be repaired, if the chiller goes down, we repair the chiller. I have no choice. So, I mean, we've got carpet cleaning that I'd like to do at some of the locations. We don't do that. That's an elective thing that, I would like to do, but with our budget and the constraints, a lot of those things have been put off for a rainy day, so to speak. So, all right, we'll move into the building report. Here at 189, obviously I see everybody has their, almost everybody has their badges on. That's working good. I think we only really had one hiccup there. We got that worked through. Locks have been changed, keys have been distributed, so everything good there. I talked at last month's meeting about the concrete sidewalk out in front. I haven't heard anything about that yet. You'll see the cones are still out there. So that's something that I hope to hear something soon as to what kind of repair we're going to receive with regard to those sidewalks. You'll see the alley. We got the permanent patches made in the alley. Nicor has been out all around town. I'm sure you've seen them making repairs to the connections for various buildings in the city. All the patchwork is done. So now we need to restripe, the crosswalk and the alley. So we'll get that done here, hopefully soon. AC issues, we have them every year. We've had a couple, nothing major, not knock on wood. So that's really it with regards to this building. At the courthouse, we have a transformer that's been leaking oil. It's in when you walk up to the back steps, there's a white vinyl fence. There's a transformer in there. It's been leaking some oil. We identified some voltage issues at the courthouse, so we called ComEd out. They took a look at some things, and during their inspection, they found that this transformer was leaking. So it's not our responsibility. They're actually going to be here tonight from 6:30 to 8:30. They're going to shut the power down. Everybody at the courthouse has been notified. Sandy, the judges, going to be about a 2-hour repair to put the new transformer in. Now, what they've cautioned me, they've tested the voltage that we're getting. They're telling me that we're getting good voltage. So they're doing the repair or the replacement of the transformer as a precautionary measure, because sooner or later the transformer is going to go out. But they've basically prepared me for the fact that if we're not getting proper voltage, to our air handlers inside the building, they're telling me that it most likely is going to be an internal wiring issue of some sort. And especially with the age of the courthouse and the wiring that's in there, that shouldn't be totally surprising. So let's get the transformer replaced. We'll take another look at it, and we'll see where we go. Outlet, we installed an outlet for the court. The courthouse got a grant. They're going to be installing some video screens. Right now they have a cork board, a whiteboard they put up, and they pin paper to it to tell you where your court case, what room it's in, etc. So they're going to be putting up basically monitors, flat screen monitors. We had to install some outlets for them. That's been completed. July 18th, we'll be meeting with the Attorney General at the courthouse to go over the ADA work that we've been talking about for a long time. Be myself, Vice Chairman Searoy's, because Chairman Wheeler's going to be out of town, and then County Architect will be there as well, and I think Anita will be joining us as well. So we hope to take a tour, go through the scope of work, have them sign off on it, so at least we have a clear direction moving forward. The Historical Society, the Illinois Historical Society, requested more information on the front steps. That's all been sent to our county architect. He's going to forward that to the Historical Society. It should have been done already. I followed up with him yesterday. I'm waiting for a response on that. The grounds at the courthouse look great. My guys continue to do a phenomenal job. If you've been by there, take a look. I mean, they cut the grass. If it's long, they put our lawn sweeper over it. They pick it all up, and everything looks really good over there. I've got a company came out yesterday. They're looking at installing some railings at the front door. As many of you are aware, we've had some issues over the years at that front door. So they're going to look at installing some railings there just as an added precautionary safety measure. Annex and old jail. Security station's up and running. If any of you have been in there, you walk down the steps. We got the security station there. We got a sheriff's officer. The magnetometer is there. We're waiting on a camera to be installed. Once that's done, we should be complete. We went through another cell motor at the old jail. Seems like we talk about that at this meeting every few months. So I had to order another cell motor. That'll be $2,000. And the issue there is the inmates will jam the doors, and when the correctional officers go to close them, if the inmates jam them, the motor just keeps running and it burns up. So, because obviously I don't like spending $2,000 every few months on these motors. So.
Mr. Olthoff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is there a way that you can have
Electronic sensor.
a breaker? I mean, I would think a breaker would go
Yeah,
off.
I can look into that. I think basically what it boils down to is, you know, when the doors close, the people that are closing the doors need to take, you know, more precaution to make sure the door does close as it should and it's not hung up. And I mean, I think that would solve a lot of our issues there. So I plan to talk with the CEO of the correctional staff to see what we can do on that end, but I'll look into that as well.
Because you think if it closed and it wasn't allowing to, that it'd overheat and trip a breaker.
Right.
Rather than
Right.
cause the motor to be
Right. All right. We had a roof drain leak at the annex. Nothing major, minor repair that should be completed tomorrow. Moving on to JCDC, I've put in front of you a financial summary. Let's see, it's right here. This one here. It says Kankakee Prison on it. That's actually Jerome Combs Detention Center. So what that is, and I'm not looking for an approval today, most likely I'll be looking for something at the next board meeting or the committee meeting, but I wanted to at least get this in front of you and let you know what I've been looking at. What this is, it's an LED retrofit. And I had a company come in, they did a demonstration for me, and basically what happens is, for a light like you see above you, you take out, you unhook it, you take the lights out, you take the ballast out, you put an LED ballast in, the frame goes up, you screw it in. Long story short, from start to finish, it takes 5 minutes. And it's actually, I think Chairman Wheeler, I showed him the other day when he was out there. It takes about 5 minutes to install these LED retrofit panels. It's an LED panel, it's about a 1/4 inch thick, and it's a 2 foot by 4 foot panel that goes up. Got me to thinking, we've got a lot of lights at that jail that are on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it makes, you know, I wanted them to run the ROI calculation on if we did 100 LED retrofit panels. They're about $90 a piece, which equates to, I don't have it in front of me, but $9,000. They figured the ComEd rebate of $26.50, so for an estimated net investment cost of $63.50. As you can see, the payback period is less than a year. To me, that's something that we can't afford not to do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a better count, because I just estimated 100 fixtures. So for next month's meeting, I'm going to get an actual count of how many fixtures we have. And if we have a payback period of less than a month, I mean, I guess I just wanted a head nod or something. If everybody wants me to continue to pursue this, if it's something that you don't want me to pursue, you know, I don't need to do it for sport. So just wanted to kind of get a feeling of the committee.
I'll just say, I gotta find you, Mr. Featherling. Go ahead, Mr. Featherling.
By the time you get switched, I forgot what I was gonna say. No, just kidding. Wes, is there a possibility to check the ones that are, you know, the ones you know for sure that are on the most, that you could change first?
Well, we've got a lot of lights that are, I mean, everything down the main hallway at JCDC is on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I know that's probably 65 down the main hallway. And then if you go into booking, all those are on. So that's why I wanted to, that's all that I wanted to do were those that are on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Because at most increases, that should be 30 to 40% if you switch to LED. You know, do they stay with 4 bulbs, or do they decrease to 2?
For the LEDs,
Yeah.
It's just one panel.
Just one. So
It's
the whole
about
thing-
that thick,
Okay.
and it's just one. It's like almost looks like it's like your flat panel TV. It's a flat panel that goes in there.
Okay.
It's really pretty neat.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Olthoff?
Make a motion, we proceed with this.
I don't know if.
No, I just wanted. I'm just going to proceed, but I didn't want to proceed if everybody was, you know, if we were against it. So.
I think I can speak on behalf of the committee that anytime you get 123% return on investment in less than a year, we need to look into it.
I agree.
Do what you have to do to get it accomplished.
I agree. So I'll continue to move forward on this at next month's committee meeting. It'll be on the agenda.
The thought I had was, well, first of all, we're not spending it yet. He was gonna get a total count and bring it back.
Yeah.
And then, The other thing was, you do have a budget, so I mean, it could be done under the budget anyway. We allocate a chunk of money and, you know, that's the kind of the way that rolls, but, why not check all the lights? I'm just curious. Why not get a big basket of, you know, everything? And is that, I'm talking about, even if it's on half the day, it's still part of the deal.
I'm just trying to be fiscally responsible with the county's money, so
Well,
I'd love to do them all. If you want me to do them all,
And
we
that's
can
where
do
I'm
that.
at. I mean, if we're talking about this little money, you know, we got 20 grand here, 30 grand there when we lose big stuff.
Mhm.
If the payback, why not take advantage of it? And I know how the chairman of the committee feels or the rest of the committee, but I'd say get a whole picture of that place. And
Well,
figure out what it
obviously the
would take.
payback is not going to be as good for those lights that aren't on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that's why, you know, we're kind of a unique facility in the fact that we do have so many lights that are always on. So obviously it makes, I mean, I have the other calculations in the office. I want to say for the lights that aren't on 24 hours a day, just like an office light, I want to say it was like 2.5 years was the payback on that.
I think Mr. Andrews is on the right track. We're using people's engineering skills to determine the savings. If we establish or install these lights, we'll be able to use common sense when we see the light bill, and then we can proceed. But I think starting the way he is makes a lot of sense.
And these will be installed by our staff. So, and that's the other thing. If I go out and I do 400 of them, you know, we're not going to be able to install, you know, 400 in a timely manner. Where if I do it, if we like to do this and we do it in phases, you know, I think from a, you know, for paying the bills and then for workload on my guys, I think that probably makes the best sense. And I think we all agree this is the best place to start. So if we get the product, it continues to work great and we see the savings, then absolutely, let's, you know, continue to look at, you know, public safety, you know, even some of the other facilities. So, all right, well, I'll keep moving on that. We've had a few AC issues out there, nothing out of the ordinary, cleaning filters. We've got huge cottonwood trees out there that just wreak havoc on our air handlers. I was out at the morgue the other day and I took what looked like a cotton shirt about that thick just off of the off the coil. It just, you could clean them every day, really. And then landscaping, we've been working on landscaping out there on the weekends. Obviously, you know, with the manpower that we have and the duties that we have each day, it's tough to get out and do the landscaping at that place because there's just so much of it. I mean, there is just an obscene amount of landscaping at that place between the morgue and then the public safety and around the jail. So I approved some overtime work on the weekends because of the weeds, the bushes, you know, just tidying up the landscaping all around that place. So we've been working through that and we will continue to work through it. So
Is that something we can look at, outsourcing some of that? It might be a better way of doing it.
yeah.
Okay. Mr. Olthoff?
Thank you, Chairman. Are there trustees?
There had been some talk about that, and I guess years ago they did do that. And I heard rumblings of it a few months ago, but I haven't heard anything since. So that would be nice.
Mr. Snipes?
With this backlog of community service that the court tends to come into, and the individual saying that there's just not enough community service that they, you know, where they can kind of absorb these hours. I'm wondering if there's a way that there can be some type of, I don't say agreement, but some type of notice with the courts or whatever. If they don't, we don't mind for, you know, garbage pickups and all of that. I would also be interested into, because a lot of times when you get into this area, and I'm sure in your department that won't happen, but sometimes you are looking at union contracts that saying you're about to rob us of this, that, and the other.
Right.
So if there's a bridge that these individuals don't care because there's so much work, and then we can get the tedious work that doesn't disturb the contract.
Right.
I think we can, you know, it'll be a win-win for all of us.
I agree.
Anybody else have any questions or comments for Mr. Andrews?
Save them to the end. You mentioned a crosswalk in the alley.
Mhm.
It's the city's alley and we have to paint the crosswalk.
Well, it's a crosswalk to our facility, so I was assuming it was our responsibility. So it's not like a crosswalk for, out here on Court Street. It's coming to our building through an alley. So I can double check that.
Might be good to know, at least for the future. I know I've called a couple times the alderman to fix the alley and I don't get callbacks. So maybe we might want to call and see about that crosswalk. And then we were just talking to Wes, so the committee knows about swipe card access in the administration office.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Good one.
Because of the fact that we have so many keys out for board members, and those are the ones, frankly, that are the hard ones to get back when they decide not to be here anymore, and those types of things. So we were looking at the cost of the swipe card. We can hook it into the 6th floor, so there's not a huge like rewiring cost. We're just going into that brain, if you will, for that system up there. So what was that, a couple of grand?
I think it was under 2,000.
Yeah,
I think
to put
because
swipe
we
card
have
in there.
everything. We've got the electronic lock is already there, all the wirings to it, so it would be very reasonable.
Okay. So bringing that back next month as well?
Yep.
Okay.
Would we have to get new pictures and new cards?
No, it would all work, unless you want one.
Well, there's nothing on this card. No, I don't want another card.
No, that'll work. There's a chip in there.
Oh, there is. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Not
That's
gonna
good.
improve your appearance.
Anybody else have any comments for Mr. Andrews? Thank you.
All right, thank you. You too.
Is there any old business that needs to be brought to this committee? Any new business? Any other business? Mr. Hess? We have a motion to adjourn, and we have a second by Mr. Snipes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you.